try this again. Okay, so now I'm recording. Everybody sees my screen still?
Yes.
All right, so I will restate it since I forgot to start the recording. So given an array and a separator string, output a string of every item in the array separated by the separator. No trailing separator at the end, and the default separator should be a comma with a space after. So basically this first one should be the default. Yeah. So using our Riot Walk acronym, does anybody want to restate in their own words what we're supposed to do and come up with any edge cases that you can think of?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Thanks. Okay, I don't know who I am, but
All right. So essentially you want me to create a function that's gonna take an array as a parameter, and then look through the array. Well, it's gonna take an array and another parameter that's gonna be used as a separator.
Right.
It's gonna separate the items inside the array.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean that's all I got.
Cool, good. So you want to start, when you restate, you want to say, okay, so you want me to make a function that's going to take in 2 arguments. It's going to take in an array and a string. Can I use Google, right? Are there any resources that I can use? Do you want me to, like, what if the array doesn't have anything in it? What do you want me to return? So you want to they want to see that you're thinking on your feet and that you can, basically problem solve, right? Okay, so that's R. What is the input? What are we taking in our function?
An array and a
Array.
string.
An array and a string, right? So there's our function should take 2 parameters. So, and I think they have it set it up for you down here. Yeah. So it takes in 2 parameters. What do we get back?
The one or the string 1, 2, 3.
Right. So it should output a string. So we want to take in 2 params, array and a string, and we should get back a string. Okay. And then the T is just talk through it, right? Talk through your solution. Interviewers want to see your thought process. They want to see that you can reason through a situation. They want to see your thought process, and that's your time to talk through and tell them what you know. Okay. Any questions on this one?
What was T and R?
So R is repeat / restate. Okay, so that's the time when as soon as they pose a question, like write an algorithm that's going to reverse a string, right? So say, can I use built-in functions? Do you want me to do this in a for loop? What if the array is empty? You want to sort of come up with questions, whatever's on your mind, because they want to see not so much that you can solve the problem, but you can reason your way through it and get to some sort of algorithm, some sort of way to solve it. And then I is the input. You want to ask what the input is. So in this case, it's a string and an array. And then you want to look at the output. What is that input going to produce? And so when you're looking at that, when you're trying to solve the problem, say, okay, what's the relationship between the input and the output? How are they related? How do I use the input to get to the output? And then the T is just talk through it. So you don't want to just sit there silently, sweating bullets and not saying anything. So just talk through the solution. Cool. Any questions about this one? Cool. All right. So the next one is called book index. So in this one, book index, you're given an array of integers representing page numbers. So you want to return a string with the page numbers formatted as page ranges when the number span is a consecutive range. So that was kind of a mouthful. So anybody want to try to restate that or ask any questions, any edge cases, try to repeat what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really understand this one.
Right. Okay. So that's the perfect. So you want to say, and it's okay to like ask, hey, okay, so I don't really understand. Let me just clarify. So we're given an array of integers that represent page numbers in a book. Okay. So like when you look at an index of a book, like if you're looking up some topic in a book, usually the index will give you numbers that look like this. They'll say, okay, so the topic is discussed on page 1. The topic is also discussed between pages 13 and 15. It's also discussed between 37 and 38. So you want to basically go through the list or go through the array. And if you have any consecutive numbers, right, you want to have numbers like this that are all consecutive. You want to basically find any consecutive numbers or integers and basically find the greatest, the less, and take out whatever's in between and replace it with a dash, right? So you want to basically, if there are any string of consecutive numbers or numbers that are consecutive in the list, you want to condense them into a string with just a dash. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So line 8, that's the expected output.
I'm sorry?
Line 8, that's the
Yes,
output.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's what confused me a little bit. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So I sort of restated it, so just so we don't take too much time here. So the restate, what is the input? I'm not gonna write this out every time. What do we get? What does our function take in?
An array.
An array.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I was just gonna say book numbers, but yeah.
Yeah, an array of, you can look at it as an array of pages, right? What do we get out? What is the output?
String.
A string, right? So, and then, yeah, just talk through it. Remember this, pretend like when you're in your groups, you're actually in an interview, right? Challenge each other, pretend like it's the real thing, because when you're 6 months from now, when you're standing at a whiteboard and sweating bullets, your mind's going to come right back here, right? You're going to look for the familiarity, what you know, what you practiced. So treat this like it's the real thing. Okay, I will put this in Discord. And please be patient with me. I'm getting better at it, but it may take me a minute. And let me stop sharing.